Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Franchise Hockey Manager 8 playthrough of the New York Islanders. We are at the start of the 2024 season, made a ton of changes to the roster in the previous offseason, much younger than we used to be, got rid of a lot of the veterans who were there for the strong playoff runs that the Islanders had 4 and 5 seasons ago, but it's going to be a very different team now. Much younger, and we are optimistic that we are going to be a playoff team this season. We're in a rebuild mode with our owner, but he's not happy with what we've done. You can see that we did make some progress in the offseason in terms of moving fan happiness from 33 at the start of the offseason to 49 now, so fans are generally okay with us losing Palmieri, trading away a number of first-round picks, trading away Cizikas, and trading away Anders Lee. As I mentioned, big changes to the team, but we are ready to get the season going and optimistic that it's going to be better than it was before. Looking at our prospects, we did take a little bit of a down slope, I guess. We were the second-ranked system at the beginning of the offseason. We dropped to third, traded away a few younger players, but that was the cost of doing business and hopefully improving our NHL roster as we begin this 24-25 season. Well, we've made it into November, and the season's off to a decent start. We are 6-3, so kind of playing the way we want to. Unfortunately, Matthew Savoy did just suffer a pretty serious injury. He's going to be out for about a month and a half. Was not starting regularly for us. Had played 5 games, scored 2 goals, so certainly off to a bit of a better start than he did last year when he was only 19 years old. You can see we're also playing him a bit more than we were before, which is positive. Hopefully we'll continue to give him some more time on the ice when he is back and healthy, but right now he needs to heal up from this strained ACL. Well, November's in the books. Not as good a month for us. 5-6-2. Injuries started to really have an impact on us. Most significant is that Adam Pelech is out with a torn elbow ligament indefinitely. Maybe we'll get him back for the playoffs if we make the playoffs, but extremely disappointing there. And his partner in crime, Pollock, is also out, but with a much less serious injury, should be back soon. Savoy, hopefully will be back, mid to late December. And then another one of our young players, Bobby Brink, is kind of put him on the IL just as a precautionary move and to also allow us to give a little bit of playing time to some of the other prospects that we have. So Alexander Campbell has been up for about a week and a half now, and Xavier Bourgault, another one of our prospects, has been up also to get a little playing time with the NHL club. So trying to layer in even more of the younger players, get them some experience with the big club, but as we've talked about, the goal is absolutely to make it into the playoffs, and we are right on the borderline right now of actually being a playoff team, unfortunately, in the Eastern Conference. So have to start playing better positively. Sorokin has been good when he's played, splitting time pretty evenly with Ottinger. And then Barzal is having a nice season. You can see he's 7th in the league in points, and he's up there in assists also, 5th in assists, 29 points through 21 games. So our offense has been significantly better than it was previously, which is a positive thing for us, but we want to make sure that it shows up in the scoreboard and the one-loss record, which it's been mixed so far, unfortunately. Well, we're into January of 2025, and December was a great month for us. You can see an 11-2-1 record. Owner is now at least satisfied with what we're doing. Looking at the standings, you can see we're clearly in the playoffs, one of the top three teams in the Metropolitan, and we're tied for fourth in the entire Eastern Conference in terms of points at this point. Barzal continues to have a nice season, tied for fifth in the league in assists and in the top 8 in points. Sorokin continues to have a strong save percentage, so things are going pretty well. Thinking about some of the development of some of our younger players, we've got a lot of young players with good potential that continue to make progress. Jurasek down at Bridgeport, and then Lucas Perek, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong, almost decided to keep him up and would have had to do something with Sorokin or Ottinger. So he's playing for us at Bridgeport this year. But you can see 15 goalie rating, 16 mental rating, 3.5 stars now, 5-star potential, continues to improve. We did send Atu down to Bridgeport recently. You can see he wasn't incredibly productive up at the NHL level for us. He'll definitely get more playing time down there, but he is still a player who we think has a nice future. Matteo Rotundi, who was our first-round choice a season ago, still in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, really progressing nicely over the past month. Goalie, who we took with our second first-round pick this past season, playing well in the OHL, although still not as good as we would hope. His goals against average and his save percentage have improved from a year ago, and his one-loss record is pretty good. Does have a shutout, so he is playing better. A few of the other interesting players, thinking of the young guys who are on the NHL roster now, Bobby Brink, Alexander Campbell, Tanner Howe, who we just drafted first overall just a few months ago. You can see certainly holding his own at the NHL level with 7 goals and 11 assists in 33 games plus 3. He's been a nice addition to the team. Wallstrom kind of probably is what he is at this point, but still a potentially really good offensive player. And then with the injury that Pelech has suffered, we've had Alex Cotton up in the 23-year-old. You can see -3 in 11 games, but getting better at fighting, being a team player in his offensive read while he's been up there. And then since we have a much younger team now, fortunately, there are not too many people who are regressing in front of us. So really happy with the development of the team through the first 2.5 or so months of the season. We are nearing the midway point. The hope is to continue in January the really great run that we've been on since the month of December. And you can see that fan happiness is slowly eking up a little higher into the middle of the range, and the owner is reasonably happy right now with our rebuild, but we'll feel a lot better about the direction that we're going if we're able to get back into the playoffs at the end of this season. We are midway through January, still playing pretty well. Just made a waiver claim. Connor Zary was cut by Calgary, 23-year-old. You can see kind of viewed as a 2.5-star player now, but with 3.5-star potential in the last year of his contract, but he will be a restricted free agent after this season. Just felt like he can play left wing and center. You can see our scouts think he's got the potential to kind of be at a Beauvillier kind of level, but roughly the same value is Sam Steele right now. And Sam Steele is actually the player that we are going to let go to make room for Zary. You can see Steele, very versatile forward, but kind of at his potential, it seems. His put up a 60 game rating for us so far this year. Would love it if he kind of makes it through waivers and we can have him at Bridgeport as a potential backup if we have some injuries or things don't work out with the player on our team. But think it's a potential small incremental move in the right direction for us to replace Steele with Zary. So that's what we are going to do right now. January was definitely more of a mixed month for us. You can see our record only 6-7, so that was disappointing. Still, we are third place in the Metropolitan Division. We are 6 points ahead of both the Penguins and the Rangers, and we've got 2 games in hand against both of them. So hopefully, that's a good sign that we're in decent shape. But you can see that the other division, the Atlantic. They changed the division names in hockey so much. I'm going to start talking about Patrick and Norris if I'm not careful. But in the Atlantic Division, definitely some stronger teams. The Sabres and the Red Wings have more or the same amount of points as us. And the Maple Leafs also have just as many points as us, and the Canadiens are only a couple behind. So it's going to be critical that we remain in the top 3 in the Metropolitan Division for our playoff hopes. Hopefully we're in good shape to do that, and hopefully we can start winning a little more here in the month of February. We are back from the All-Star break, and in a rare event for the Islanders, had a couple of All-Stars with Barzal, who, as you can see, 58 points through 49 games, definitely living up to his great potential. And then Adam Fox, who's had a really nice season for us. Big reason for the improvement in the offense, as you can see, with 16 goals, 20 assists, 36 points. Plus 12, plus minus, really kind of helping generate some offense for us from the blue line, which has been a huge positive for the team so far. So as we think about the rest of the season, I'm going to start thinking about whether we should, make another trade to bolster our defense. Looks unlikely that we are going to be getting Pelech back, still out for another 3 to 4 months with that torn elbow ligament. So it's even if we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, which would be a huge win for us, but is certainly not an expectation at this point. Maybe he'd be around for the finals for a few games, but because he's on the injured list, probably through the end of our season, we've got a lot of ability to take on a contract. So if there's someone who is looking to dump a defenseman in the last year of their contract, we may become a destination for them. We'll take a look at some of these players here: Ekholm, Ekman-Larsson, Marino. There are a few defensemen out there, so maybe we will make some changes. We are at the trade deadline, and we have got one deal done. We picked up John Marino from the Penguins, who had played this whole year at the AHL level for them. So we think that he's a good stay-at-home defenseman. We think he can definitely help fill in the gap in our lineup with Pelech being hurt. Had to give up a couple of fifth-rounders, and then Josh Doan, decent prospect, but had not moved up higher than Worcester for us. So pretty comfortable that that's a good move for us. Will allow us to most likely move Johansson back down to Bridgeport, or potentially do something with one of the other defenders, but gives us a little boost as we head closer to potentially being in the playoffs. So February wasn't a great month, 4-5 record. We still would be in the playoffs if the season ended today, but you can see we're just barely hanging on to third in the Metropolitan, only 2 points ahead of the Penguins and the Rangers, and only 4 points ahead of the Hurricanes, and only 5 points ahead of the Devils. The good thing is that we have games in hand, 1 to 3 games in hand against each of those teams. So The playoff spot has gotten a little tenuous over the past month, but I still feel like we're in pretty good shape to hopefully take care of business and get into the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons. Well, we've played a week into March, and we've got some good news and bad news. The good news is that yesterday we won a game against the Penguins, who are one of the teams that is chasing us for third in the division, so that was a big win. Unfortunately, Pollock was hurt in the game. He's going to be out for about 3 weeks. Certainly not optimal to have both of our big stay-at-home defensemen, Pellick and Pullock, out as we try to make a push for the playoffs. But at least Pullock should be back, hopefully by the end of the month. So we will send him to the injury list. The good news is that Johansson's been on the list. He's day-to-day at this point. Still game unavailable, but he should be back soon. So probably just we'll call up someone from Bridgeport for this one game upcoming versus Ottawa, and then get Johansson back onto the team as we try to continue to push for the playoffs. We are into the home stretch of the season, had a really good month in April, 10-4-2 record. Have suffered a lot of injuries, quite honestly. Still have Pellick and Pullock on the list, and then Shaw, Zary, and Wahlstrom also suffering from various degrees of injuries. Fortunately, both Wahlstrom and Pullock should be back soon, so that will help us improve the roster a little bit, but we haven't clinched a playoff spot yet, but we've moved into first place in the Metropolitan Division. But you can see between us, Columbus, and Philadelphia for the top 3 spots, only separated by 2 points with 8 games to go. So that could certainly go in any direction. And then Carolina and the Rangers are lurking 6 points behind us, and we've got a game in hand against Carolina and two in hand against the Rangers. So hopefully we are in pretty good shape to finally get into the playoffs. Certainly no guarantees. We're playing against Minnesota today. Would be nice to get a win on the road. We've been in a little bit of a slump recently, and we did win 5-3. So that was a big victory for us, because it looks like both Columbus and the Flyers also won their games. So still only 2 up on them, but now 8 up on both Carolina and the Rangers, which is favorable. Got a bit of a tough decision here. Pollock is back, put him onto the roster, which is clearly good. Got to decide how we're going to free up a roster spot, though. Sean Walker, who we still have signed for another 3 years, 30 years old, making about $3.3 million a year, is one potential option. The other potential option would be to send David Ginchek back to Bridgeport. He's played incredibly well in the brief time that he's been up here. You can see 9 games, 7 points, +2. I think we can probably get something for Walker if we trade him in the offseason and don't really want to risk putting him through waivers. So although Ginchek's been playing really well for us, whoever we keep is going to be kind of our 7th defenseman, and given that we can probably get a little bit for Walker in the offseason and then bring up Ginchek next year, and that Walker also now is pretty competent at both left defense and right defense. Going to send Ginchek back down to Bridgeport. Not an obvious decision one way or the other, but we'll go with the veteran while we are making the push for the playoffs. Speaking of that push for the playoffs, we've got the Stars today on the road. Waiver is not that interesting. Let's see how we do in this game. We're getting close to being able to clinch, and we won 5-2. Big win for us. We've got 6 games to go, so we are not guaranteed a playoff spot yet, but we are getting pretty close. So continue to make progress. We are close to the final week of the season. You can see we are still up in the Metropolitan Division with 6 games to go. Looking at the schedule, home against the Blues today, and then all the teams in our division after that, at Philadelphia and at Carolina, in back-to-back games, which will be tough, at the Penguins, and then next week we're home against the Flyers, and then at the Rangers to finish the season. So we're playing the teams that we have to beat after today, but they also get to play us. Tough 6-3 loss to St. Louis, not optimal, and Sam Steele out. We had sent him down when we made an acquisition a while ago, but due to injuries, he made it through waivers, and then due to injuries, we brought him back up. But looks like Steele's going to be out for the rest of the regular season at the very least, so we'll send him to the injury list. Should have Wahlstrom back any day now, but we'll bring up a body from Bridgeport just in case, so they're ready to play at the Flyers tomorrow, because that will be a really big game for us. We are tied now, and we've got 2 games against them with 5 to go. So the home and away games against the Flyers in the next several days will most likely determine who wins the Metropolitan Division. Obviously, there's still a chance that we aren't even in the playoffs. You look, we're only 4 points away from being 4th place in the Metropolitan, and then we'd get into a wild card situation, so we want to avoid that. So huge game coming up. We're going to bring up injury replacement, and then hopefully be able to go on the road and make some Philadelphia fans miserable. We've got back-to-back huge games on the road at Philadelphia and at Carolina. You can see we're tied with Philadelphia with 91 points, and Carolina is only 4 points behind us at 87, although we do have a game in hand on them. Probably will lose the game in hand on them playing against Philadelphia, but let's see how that one goes. A win here would be huge for us, and we did get the win 6-3. That is really big. Huge win for us. Hopefully Wahlstrom will be back soon. Playing at Carolina now. Let's see what the boys are able to do. Tough loss, 5-2, so that kind of keeps things interesting. Looking at the standings with just 3 games to go for us. We are up 2 points on the Flyers, 3 points on the Hurricanes, and 4 points on the Blue Jackets. So they've put together a great schedule for the Metropolitan Division. It could still go in any different direction, and you can see that the 3rd, 4th, and the 4th, 5th, and 6th place teams over in the Atlantic have 91, 90, and 87 points. So we're probably in the playoffs. I don't know if we've officially clinched, but we could still end up in a whole bunch of different scenarios. Got to hopefully win this upcoming game on the road at Pittsburgh. The Penguins have kind of fallen out of it over the last month or so. Would be huge to get a W on the road, because I think if we can win this, we are probably pretty close to clinching. It looks like we've got to put Wahlstrom back on the roster, which is actually good news. So we will move Wahlstrom up and send down Vladimir Takachev back to Bridgeport. Didn't get to play well. He was up with us for just a day and a half, 2 days, but can't imagine anyone's going to pick him up through waivers at this late stage of the season. On to Pittsburgh. A 4-3 win, and that should put us in the playoffs, it appears. I guess theoretically we could end up in some kind of funky 4-way tie here where we all have 91 points, but even if that happens, we've got 45 wins, and actually we've got a game in hand against Carolina, so they can't tie us. So we are in the playoffs, which is great. Still got 2 games left in the regular season. Looks like we don't have a shot at getting to 100 points. Best we can do is 99, but this will be the best season we've had since we took over, our first playoff season. So the big changes we made in the last offseason absolutely seem to have paid off so far. So even though we've got a lot of players hurt right now, we've done the job. Let's see if we can finish up strong. beat Philadelphia 4-2, so the Metropolitan Division is going to be ours now, and then at the Rangers, who are out of it tomorrow to finish up the regular season. So things are looking pretty good. Hopefully we will have some of the guys who are injured back when we do get into our playoff matchup and find out who we're going to be playing, and a nice finish to the season with a 4-2 win against the Rangers. So went as well as it could down the stretch there. You can see it looked like it could have been a crazy situation, and we ended up 6 points ahead of the Flyers for the Metropolitan Division, third best record in the Eastern Conference, and we have the sixth best record in all of hockey. So you can see Sorokin in the top 8 in GAA and second best save percentage in the league. It's been a good season. And as we prepare to head into the playoffs as the Metropolitan Division winners, we also have a couple potential award winners on the team. Our big offseason addition from the Rangers, big trade for Adam Fox, and he is a finalist for the Norris Trophy. And after a very difficult season, first season with us last year, Vigneault, potential Jack Adams Trophy winner. So the Islanders have seemingly started to turn things around, but now we have some work to do in the playoffs. At the best fan happiness we've been in several seasons. Team chemistry looking very strong. Job security surprisingly weak, given that our objective was a rebuild, and we made the playoffs with one of the three best records in the Eastern Conference. But it is what it is. Our goal is to keep the momentum going and hopefully win some games in the playoffs, and would like to certainly win at least the first round. After that, anything could happen, but a playoff series victory would be a nice step forward for this new version of the Islanders. And then, of course, once we get that, we're going to get greedy and want to keep going. You can see that we will be playing the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. They finished the season with 93 points, so only 6 points worse than us, even though we're going to have the home ice advantage over them. Would be great if we can start getting some of our injured players back. It sounds like Mason Shaw is getting close. Looking at the injury list, got a shot for Mason Shaw to get back soon. Sam Steele also, but Zary is clearly gone for the year, and Pellick's still extremely unlikely. He's been injured, since November, basically missed the entire season. You can see played just 17 games for us. Was really good with a +7 in those 17 games, but probably we will not be playing by the time he gets back from that torn elbow ligament. And 5-1 loss in the first game as this Islander team made their return to the playoffs. Looks like Mason Shaw is back. I don't think he's going to be a huge difference maker as far as whether we win the series or not, but had a really nice season for us, as you can see, with 19 goals, 21 assists, 40 points in 65 games. So it was a nice addition who is very versatile, can play any position on the front line with reasonable quality. So a huge game today, down 1-0 in the series to the Maple Leafs. Lost again, so off to a really difficult start. Down 2-0 in this series despite having the home ice advantage, and lost Capobianco for at least 6 weeks. So he's clearly done for the year. So we'll try to figure out how to replace him, and then hopefully we can go up to Toronto and start winning some games. Well, we brought up Lucas Johansson to replace Capobianco. We'll see. I'm guessing he probably won't play today. Probably will be the seventh defenseman for us against the Maple Leafs here. Big game for us, and we finally did get a W, so that was big, and Sam Steele's ready for more drills. So finally got a playoff victory for this team, which we absolutely needed after falling down 2-0. Would be huge if we can go on the road and get a second victory and even things up here. And we did. So things are getting interesting. We've taken the home ice advantage back from the Maple Leafs. Let's see what we can do. Back in New York, it's now a 3-game series. A 4-1 victory for the good guys. So won 3 straight games, and we are now just 1 game away from getting into the second round of the playoffs. So making some progress. Looking back at that Game 5 win against the Maple Leafs, which put us back in control of the series. Also really pleasing to see who the stars were with Savoy, Ottinger, and Brink. 3 of our really young, talented players did the job. So we've got at Toronto right now. Hopefully we can close out the series here. If not, we'll be heading back. And we did it. 3-0 victory. So we are on to the second round of the playoffs. Really good performance by the Islanders. Thought we were in trouble when we were down 2-0 in the series, but the team rallied back, and we will see who we need to play in the second round shortly. A little bit of good news as we head into the beginning of our series against the Flyers, and that Pelech is ready to resume skating. Could be fully recovered within 2 weeks, so back potentially earlier than we would have thought, although I'd be surprised if he's really going to be ready 2 weeks from today to play. But if we could get by the Flyers and then get Pelech back for a potential Eastern Conference Finals, that would be huge. But obviously we've got a lot of work to do before then against the Flyers, who were the second place team in the Metropolitan Division to us this season. So we've got the home ice advantage, but it's going to be a difficult series, no doubt. Got off to a good start, though, with a 4-2 win in the first game of the series. You can see Campbell, the youngster, scored a goal for us, also had an assist. And then Johansson, who is only up here because of all the injuries to the defense, also with the third star of the game. So off to a good start against the mighty Philadelphia Flyers. Would be really big to win this second game at home and keep the pressure on them. Unfortunately, we got whooped 5-2. Not going to spend too much time thinking about that one. Oh, interesting. Our old buddy, Anders Lee, former star for the Islanders for all those years, who we let go, traded away, has come back to haunt us a little bit, but. So we're 1-1. We had a full house at the EVS Arena, not surprisingly for a playoff game. We're headed to Philadelphia now, where we'd certainly like to get a win. They did break our 5-game playoff winning streak, as we went down 0-2 before winning 4 in a row in the first round, and then won the first game of the series. On the road at Philadelphia, and they crush us 6-0. Not optimal. So headed into Game 4 of the series, which we would still be favored, at least at the beginning of the series, having won the division. Big loss, 5-3. We're headed back home to New York, but we are down 3-1 in the series after losing 3 games in a row. So we have our proverbial backs up against the wall, need to win 3 straight to move on. And we got one of them, 4-3 win. You can see we scored in the third period there to break a tie. Savoy, I love seeing the youngsters do a good job. 2 assists for us. So Savoy, including in the third period, he actually did not have an assist on the game winner, which was Andrew Peak from Adam Fox and Tanner Howe. So Fox, the big trade addition from the Rangers, the Norris Trophy finalist, and then Tanner Howe, who was our first-round pick last July, brought him right up to the big team. So getting contributions from a wide variety of players. Still up against it, need to win 2 in a row, including this game on the road against Philadelphia to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. And we're going to have a shot, 5-1 victory. These Islanders don't make it easy, but they certainly make it interesting. You can see there Mason Shaw, Sean Walker, who we've thought about letting go at various times, comes through, and then Konechny, a big offseason addition, and was the other side of that Anders Lee trade. So he helps get us back into it. We are heading into a Game 7. We have the advantage again now, as we are going to be on our home ice at the UBS Arena out on the island. Let's see how it goes. We won. We are on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Won the 7-game playoff series after being down 3-2. It was even worse than that. We won it after being down 3-1. Bad news is we did lose Konechny for 6 days with severe teeth damage. That sounds horrible. Barzal, great night. Hat trick for the captain with the pressure on. Can see also got a goal from Savoy and Wallstrom, so some of the younger guys with the hat trick by Barzal. We are on to the Eastern Conference Finals with your New York Islanders. With the day-to-day status, I just can't justify putting Konechny on the injured list in case he's healthy before he can come off. We'll just go with one fewer skater for the series against Florida, in which we will be on the road. The good news, though, is that Pelech looks like he's getting close. Would be a huge addition for the defense to get him back before we are too far into the series with the Panthers. You can see number 1 seed against number 1 seed. The Panthers, the best team in the Eastern Conference with 104 points. So we will see what happens, but we're making it interesting now that we're finally back in the playoffs with this Islanders team. Starting off on the road, we got a 2-1 win. Tough game, 2-1, and Beauvillier now day today, so certainly not optimal that we're losing some key players. And the youngsters, though, Atu with a goal. And then, of course, the great one, Adam Fox, an assist on the winner in overtime to Bobby Brink. So was an exciting game. Not going to bore you all watching it with the little pucks moving around in the little circles on the graphics here for Franchise Hockey Manager 8. Just like to go through it pretty quickly, but looks like Tanner Howe is also injured. The rookie going to be out 5 weeks. 3rd-degree MCL sprain. So we get Pelech back, which is great, but Howe and Beauvillier and Konechny are all out. So we're up 1-0, but we've got some decisions to make on what the roster is going to look like before this next game. The one thing we know is that Tanner Howe, the 19-year-old first-round draft choice for us just 10 months ago, picked number 10 overall. His year is unfortunately over, but you can see for a 19-year-old it was a nice rookie season. 15 goals and 25 assists, 40 points, plus 18, playing about 13 minutes a game for the Islanders as a 19-year-old. Real bummer that he's not going to be around for the rest of the season, but he's got great future ahead of him with this team. So as we head into Game 2 of the series, still in Florida, the good news is that we do have Adam Pelech back. Only played 17 games this year, but the big defenseman, great defenseman, is back in the lineup. Hasn't played since November, but we will have him on the ice for this critical series. Although the injuries are so bad, I'm going to have to do a little more. Someone else must have gotten nicked up a little bit. Beauvillier and Konechny are out. That should leave. We only have 22 players on the team. Oh, even better. I can bring somebody up. That was what I had forgotten to do, was bring up a player. So I'll make sure that I get the 12th skater onto the roster, and then we will play against the Panthers. Wish I had done it yesterday when I thought about it, though, because now this person's not going to be at full stamina. But my bad. Brought Sam Steele back up. He's been up and down between Bridgeport and the Islanders, and then also hurt off and on this season. But he is back into the lineup for this critical game against Florida. And we lost that, so we're down. We lost 3-1. We are tied 1-1 as we head. Another injury though. Brandon Tanev headed to the IR, fractured hand. So he is certainly out for the season, and given his contract situation, you can see this was his last year under contract. May have played his last game for the Islanders at 33 years old. You can see he had another solid season for us, 12 goals and 19 assists, only 31 points, but plus 18, 13 and a half minutes on the ice a game. Kind of playing on the third and fourth line for us, but just one of the few solid veterans that we didn't get rid of, who had a solid season for us, but disappointing that his year is over. So we will add him to the injured list, and we are going to have to make another move to bring up some reinforcements, because pretty much with the exception of Capobianco, who could potentially maybe be back for a Stanley Cup finals appearance, the other guys, Tanner Howe, Connor Zary, and now Brandon Tanev, are gone for the year. So we will be looking to bring up our another person who has been with Bridgeport and the Islanders all season long. Matthew Joseph, you can see versatile player, played 57 games in Bridgeport, 7 games with the Islanders, didn't register a point. Has not actually. Should we bring him up? I was going to say we could bring up Bourgault, but he's injured. Partially torn UCL for the youngster. So I think that the way to go is to bring Joseph up. Not sure how much playing time he's ultimately going to get, although right now with Beauvillier and Konechny still dinged up, he definitely could be in the lineup for the pivotal Game 3, which will be taking place tomorrow at the UBS Arena. Konechny is back. That's good. And a 4-1 win for the Islanders. Beauvillier getting close to returning. Let's take a look at how the game went. Barzal, the captain, 1 goal, 1 assist. Pelech with an assist. And then the other defenseman, Peak, scored a goal for us. Savoy, the youngster, 7th goal of the playoffs. These Islanders are a tough out, I'll tell you that. Never give up. If we can win this game against Florida at home, go up 3-1 before we head back to the Sunshine State, that would be absolutely huge. Didn't get the job done, though. Lost 3-2 in overtime. Tough game. You can see in overtime, Anton Lundell, first goal, overtime winner to even things up for So that was tough, but we're still we're in a 3-game series now. It's just the home ice advantage is back to Florida. Huge game here. Beauvillier completely recovered. Let's go out and do something, Anthony. Why don't you score the game winner for us? We did win 4-3. Oliver Wahlstrom now hurt, only day-to-day though. Let's see how that game went. Peak and Fox, so 2 defensemen getting the stars for us, but the eventual game winner, Wahlstrom, before he got banged up, 2 goals within a span of less than a minute in the third period. And you can see with Pajot and Wahlstrom, 3 goals from the Islanders in a minute and 6 seconds. That must have been incredible to watch. 4-3 win for the Islanders as we prepare to head back home. And after 3 years of mediocrity in this FHM 8 sim, the Islanders are now 1 game away from the Stanley Cup Finals. Home against Florida, and a 7-1 victory. Upset for the Islanders. Of course, there's another injury. Pulock now with a tender shoulder for 1 to 2 weeks. But the Islanders are Eastern Conference champions. Barzal, Shaw, and Brink. So our front line putting up some points. You can see Beauvillier back in the lineup with a goal. The youngster Atu Rati. Savoy, another youngster. Barzal, the veteran. And then just put it on in the third period to put things away with all players who were new additions. Natchez, Konechny, and Marino, who we added right at the trade deadline with the final goal. So great 7-1 win for the Islanders, but you can see no rest for the weary. Even though we took the series 4-2, we are going to be at Calgary tomorrow. Number 3 seed for Calgary. But you can see the 3 seed in that Pacific Division is still a team with 110 points. So they were not the favorite to get there with the monster season from Vegas and a really great season by the defending champion Edmonton Oilers. But the 52-win Calgary Flames will be hosting our New York Islanders in the Stanley Cup Finals. Got a bit of an interesting decision here with Pulock going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. Probably will put him on the injury list. Hopefully he doesn't heal. Well, I guess we still would want him to heal up early, but hopefully it doesn't put us into too bad of a position of missing him for games. But Capobianco is just about back from the injury that he suffered about a month ago, so we got a ready-made replacement for him, but I think we've got to put Pulock onto the injury list. And then in the case that Capobianco is not ready to go, going to bring up bring Johansson back for potentially a game or two, and then we will replace him with Capobianco if and when he's healthy. So starting on the road, made some progress with Wahlstrom. Not his usual self, but safe to dress him, which sounds like he'll be out for game 1. Oof. The mighty Flames blow us out 6-1 in the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals. So not the start that the Islanders were looking for. Obviously, it's been a great season to have made this run to the finals, but now that we're here, we certainly don't want to lose. So a huge game for the Islanders here in June. Wahlstrom's still going to be out, but hopefully getting close to a return. Facing the mighty Flames on the road. Would be great to steal one on the road before we head back to New York, and we did. 6-5 victory in overtime. The overtime hero, Beauvillier, in the second overtime from the youngsters Savoy and Brink. These Islanders are not dead yet. We are headed back to New York, tied 1-1. Capobianco getting close to returning, which is good. Would be good if we started hearing some good news on Pulock, who's also day-to-day. Would be a huge boost to get those guys back, and only 1 day left on the injury list for Pulock, so it was a good decision to kind of put him there and give ourselves a little more roster flexibility. Pivotal game 3 of the series against the Flames at home, and a 5-4 win for the Islanders. Take a 2-1 series lead. We are starting to dream about what could be with these Islanders. And the Islanders have faith in me and have renewed my contract after this surprisingly strong season. But we are 2 games away from a potential championship. So as good as we would look back on this season if we don't win, you never want to get this close and let it get away. So a big game against Calgary, up 2-1 in the series. Next 2 games, if needed, will be in Calgary. So let's try to get a win at home to take a 3-1 lead. And we got it. The Islanders with a 6-3 win. Beauvillier, 2 goals and 2 assists. 2 assists from Barzal, and the veteran Peugeot with 2 goals. We are 1 game away from potentially being the Stanley Cup champions. As we head into a potential clincher on the road, neither Capobianco nor Pulock are ready yet. Although Pulock is game available. Capobianco is game available. We're going to let them get fully healed. We may come back to regret it, but we are on the road. We are the big underdogs in the series. Would rather have them as full strength back at UBS in 2 days if we need to play there. So we are going to stick with who's been playing so far in the series, with Pelech and Dobson and Fox and Marino, Peak, Walker, Johansson. We've got some good defenders. We trust those guys to get the job done on the road. And they didn't quite get it done. So hopefully we'll have Capobianco and or Pulock back for the final 2 games in the series. 4-3 losers in a potential clincher. So we're still up 3-2. But the pressure is going to be heading in our direction for our final home game of the season, one way or another tomorrow. Capobianco is back, so he is going to the active roster. Really appreciate the efforts of Johansson, but he's headed down to Bridgeport. And Pulock is back too, completely recovered. Although, does he have to? He does. Okay, so he does need to come off the injury list. So this is going to be a more interesting decision for us. Obviously, we're putting Pulock back onto the active roster. Unfortunately, that means he's only 80% fitness because it's the day of the game. So that is not optimal. But now we got a real interesting decision because we had added Marino at the trade deadline. Marino's staying, Fox is staying, Dobson is staying, Pulock is staying, Pelech is staying. So it's between Walker, Peak, and Capobianco. Who do we send down? It can't be Capobianco after the season he had for us. So it's going to be Peak or Walker. Peak has had some huge minutes in these playoffs, some huge moments. plus 13 for the season. Good defenseman. I think we're sending Walker down. Was a player that we started building all of this around. One of the first additions we made 3.5 years ago when we started this. But he's not one of the top 7 defensemen right now. Hurts to send him down to Bridgeport. It's going to break his heart if we win the Stanley Cup today without him. But those are the tough decisions that we've got to make as the general manager. So we were up 3-1. Now we are up 3-2. It is the final home game of the season for us, no matter what. Let's see if we can clinch a Stanley Cup on the home ice at the UBS Arena. And the Islanders are your 2025 Stanley Cup champions. Championship number 5. 42 years since the last of the 4 victories by the great dynasty of Bossy and Trottier and Potvin and Smith. And the Islanders are once again champions. After falling down 2-0 as favorites against the Maple Leafs, won 4 in a row. Went to a Game 7 in the quarterfinals and recovered from a 3-1 deficit to win 3 in a row. The semifinals back and forth with Florida through the first 4 games and then won the final 2. And then in the Stanley Cup finals against the mighty Flames, the Islanders did the job and they got to win on home ice. So a fantastic season for old school sports and the New York Islanders in our rebuild. Well, the rebuild can't go any better than that, as the New York Islanders have won the Stanley Cup championship. I've got myself a nice big contract extension. As we wrap up the episode, fan happiness, quite a transition over the past season from a 17 after a 3rd straight season out of the playoffs to the perfect 100, as high as you can get after winning the NHL championship. Job security is strong. Team chemistry is great. Vigneault with the championship for himself. Lots of success in this season. We've got a lot of decisions to make as we get ready for the offseason. Not going to walk you through all of them, as this has been a long episode, but we've got a lot of decisions to make with a lot of scouts and coaches. And then looking at the roster, some decisions to make there also. Steele and Joseph, kind of secondary kind of players, may or may not be coming back. The rest of the team, we signed Barzal, signed Brink, Konechny, and Natchez. So, not a ton of big decisions to make as far as what the roster looks like. We'll need to figure out what to do with Pajot, but even if he's not on the team next season, he will forever be a Stanley Cup champion with the New York Islanders. And then at goalie, we're going to have some big decisions to make. Didn't mention this during the season, but Sorokin, 254 goal against, 926 save percentages, 15 and 11. Still, not necessarily thrilled that Ottinger was used more often than him. You can see that his goals against average and save percentage both moved in the wrong direction this season, even though he was 32 and 19. But likely one of them is going to be gone next year, because Lucas Perrick, who we had spent the entire season at Bridgeport, did not want to kind of disrupt the momentum we had going with this team towards the late stages of the season and in the playoffs. But you can see the 24-year-old, nice season, 268 goals against average, 906 save percentage. And when you look at, you look just at the ability there, and he's 3.5 star with 5 star potential. It's going to be hard for Ottinger and Sorokin to hold him off for another season. So we're going to have some big decisions to make at goalie this coming off season. Looking at the expanded stats from the season, you can see we really turned our offense around, scored 281 goals this year after being the lowest scoring team in the league last season. We were certainly not the highest scoring team, but we're a lot more competitive, and obviously a plus 34 differential is a big reason why we had a good, strong winning record. Looking at the roster and the players, the new captain, Barzal, great season, 38 goals, 51 assists, signed a big contract extension with us, and certainly wish worth every penny of it. Beauvillier, nice season, 25 goals, 44 assists for the other young star. Konechny came over. Very solid season, 17 goals, 44 assists, 61 points. Adam Fox, we're going to find out shortly whether or not he won the Norris Trophy, but that was really the trade that was most pivotal to us. You can see 22 goals as a defenseman, 32 assists, plus 28 on the season. Just a great year for Fox. Speaking of acquisitions, Nechas was a huge trade for us also. Did not necessarily score a ton of goals, only 12 goals, but 41 assists, one of the more productive playmakers on the team, plus 15 for the season, and just gave us another competent offensive player as we were trying to turn the offense around. Mason Shaw, another guy who joined us this year, 40 points. Capobianco, nice job as a defenseman, plus 14 for the season. Wallstrom, who's now one of the veterans, less playing time with some of the additions to the team. Campbell, youngster, started the season in Bridgeport, but in 56 games, 33 points for us. And then Savoy, the former number 1 draft pick, second overall pick just a few seasons ago, 21 years old now with 14 goals, 17 assists, 31 points. Can see increased his playing time about close to 4 minutes a game. Hopefully his ice time will increase even more next season, but obviously a huge part of our season, huge part of our franchise's history in this championship season. Pajot, one of the holdovers. We've been thinking about trading him for a long time, but he was certainly a contributor this season. You can see he turned it around from a minus 26 plus minus a year ago to plus 2 this season. And then Brink, another youngster, full season up with the big club this year, 10 goals, 20 assists. Dobson, the defenseman, plus 2 on the year. Aturati, spent time with both the Islanders and Bridgeport this year. But still a big part of our future. Pulock, suffered from some injuries, but he improved from minus 21 a year ago to a 0 plus minus this season. And then it was great to have Pelech back for the end of the run to the Stanley Cup championship. Good to have those guys both on the ice. Still have some injuries that need to be recovered. It was unfortunate that Tanev, who had a solid year for us, went from minus 18 to plus 18. Unfortunate that he missed the final rounds of the playoffs. Howe, the young rookie, we've already talked about him, had a nice season for us too. So we are going to call it a wrap. The Islanders are your Stanley Cup champions. We will be back in our next episode talking about the 2025 offseason. Actually, before we do that, sorry to make you think you were finally done with me, but we are going to sim the next couple of weeks and then just see how many points we got to distribute by virtue of being Stanley Cup champions this year before we totally let you go. Well, we've made it through the rest of the month. Just made a few minor contract extension signings, and then also signed a few of our young players that we had rights to. We are to the award ceremony. Let's see who won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Adam Fox, the addition to the team from the New York Rangers, also winning the playoff MVP award for us. We'll see if he can double up shortly and also win the Norris Trophy. He did not. Shea Theodore won the Norris Trophy. And then the other big award that our team was up for was Vigneault was up for the Jack Adams Award. And he did not win it. No surprise, Calgary winning with the best coach and the best executive, but we have the Stanley Cup after defeating them in the finals last season. Looking at the All-Star team, we have Fox on the second team. All-rookie team, nobody. A bit surprising, but it is what it is. Moving on to the final day of the hockey year, at least in FHM 8 to June 30th. We reached the playoffs, had a winning season, big winning percentage, finished first, reached the finals, and won the championship. So a lot of those blue check boxes, total season score 49. So that's 2/3 of the score that we've racked up during our 4 seasons came in this championship season. You can see we've only picked up 4 points over those first 3 seasons to improve our negotiating skill. Difficulty about kind of starting at the bottom with an NHL team is that you're sevens across the board and you just don't have a ton of skill for doing the negotiating and everything else that you need to do on a daily basis. But this will help us be much more effective in our job. We're going to bump everything up 2 notches to 9s on discipline, self-preservation, and player management. Put an extra point into negotiating skill to kind of hopefully help us sign some good contracts that are good for us. And that is the end of the season. So thank you so much for watching. I know it was a long episode, but very happy to have completed this rebuild and delivered a Stanley Cup to the New York Islanders in our 4th season in FHM 8. We will be back with a look at the offseason for 25-26 as we try to get ready to defend our title. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.